A very good evening to you and welcome to Corero, a big conversation, a platform where we dissect pressing national issues. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, Nigeria's economy remains one of the biggest issues dominating public conversation as citizens continue to assess the impact of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope policies nearly 3 years into this administration. Now, since the removal of fuel subsidy and the unification of the foreign exchange market in 2023, the country has witnessed major economic shifts. While the government says the reforms are necessary for long-term stability, many Nigerians continue to grapple with inflation, rising cost of living, and increasing economic hardship. Recent figures shows Nigeria's inflation rate, though not moderating compared to earlier peaks, still remains above 15%, while food prices continue to place major pressure even on households. Now, reports also shows that poverty levels remain a major concern, with studies estimating that over 60% of Nigerians are currently struggling with multi-dimensional poverty and declining purchasing power. On debt, Nigerians' public debt profile and services obligation also remain in focus. The federal government projected over 15 million naira for debt servicing in 2026 budget, while recent reports indicate that nearly half of the projected government revenue could go into debt repayment. At the same time, the administration points to some improving indicators, including rising foreign reserves, increased investors' confidence, exchange rate reforms, and projected economic growth targets. Now, the government insists that these difficult reforms are laying the foundation for long-term recovery and fiscal stability. Tonight on Corero, we will examine the state of the economy, putting the impact of the renewed hope policies in focus and assessing the realities behind the numbers. And also, we will also travel the distance to also look at happenings within Edo State by trying to tie up the conversation. Well, joining me tonight is Chief Comrade Haruna Braimoh, who is an APC chieftain and who will be helping us put all of these issues in perspective. Please stay with us as the conversation begins immediately after this break. All right, welcome back. Before we even dive into the conversation, now let's even have a background to how did we get to this point, even looking at the whole President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope economic policies and try to even understand how we got to this point generally. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda remains one of the most debated economic reform programs in recent Nigerian history. Now, since assuming office in 2023, the administration has implemented sweeping reforms aimed at stabilizing Nigeria's economy, improving government revenue, attracting investors, and reducing long-standing structural distortions. Now, supporters argue these policies were necessary to prevent fiscal collapse, while critics say that the reforms have imposed severe hardship on Nigerians. The administration and some international financial observers point to several indicators suggesting macroeconomic improvements, such as increased government revenue following subsidy removal, reduction in fiscal deficit, improved foreign exchange liquidity, rising foreign reserves, renewed investors' confidence, reduction in petrol imports due to local refining efforts, GDP growth, recovery in some sectors, and lots more. Now, according to the World Bank, Nigeria recorded one of its strongest growth performances in a decade in late 2024, helped by fiscal reforms and exchange rate adjustments. Many Nigerians judge the reform not by fiscal indicators, but by daily realities such as food affordability, transportation rates, and energy costs. The Tinubu's administration insists the worst is behind Nigeria and has set ambitious growth targets for the coming years. For many Nigerians, the central question remains: will the current economic pain eventually translate into broad-based prosperity, or will the burden continue to overweigh the promised gains? Well, like I said before, we have in the studio, and with me in the studio right now, the person of High Chief Comrade Haruna Braimoh, who is an APC chieftain, and he'll be helping us again to look at all of this issue. Well, High Chief, it's a delight to have you on Correro. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Sunday.
Well, High Chief, I believe you've been following the narrative so far about this current administration, and you've also listened to the introduction and also followed through on the background to the whole conversation. But Nigerians are facing severe hardship, rising food prices and inflation. Can the APC government say that the renewed hope agenda is still on track despite growing frustrations?
All right, I think I have to take us back to where the issues of our economic collapse started from, so that we will actually appreciate the effort of the current administration. In 2012, remember, we had the fuel subsidy debacle, where there was a massive protest, where the then President, Goodluck Jonathan, attempted to remove a fuel subsidy, which was occasioned by some resistance on the ground that the Farouk Lawan report that has indicted and investigated the subsidy fraud then in trillions. The report was swept under the carpet without fighting the criminality of it. The Nigerian people felt there was no need for the subsidy to go without fighting the criminal behind the subsidy. That became the beginning of awareness as far as subsidy issue is concerned. As of 2014, Nigeria was already spending about 13 trillion, 2014, 2015, already spending about 13 trillion in subsidy to subsidize petrol. What was the total budget of Nigeria? Whereby our GDP to debt was already depleting based on the rating. We are borrowing more. We have depleted our reserve from 67 billion in 2007. As of 2013, 2014, before Goodluck Jonathan handed over, we're having a paltry 23 billion gross reserve. Net reserve was in pieces, you know. Our excess crude account depleted from $32 billion from 2007. As of 2015, it was just 2 billion. And the government of APC that came to power in 2015 inherited a bankrupt 32 states. 32 states that were bankrupt. As at November 2014, the former World Bank Executive Director and the former Coordinating Minister of Economy, it's a record that she told the whole world, Dr. Ogozie Okonjo-Iweala, that Nigeria was technically insolvent. And I'm an accountant. I know what insolvency means. When you are insolvent, you are just a step away from total bankruptcy. That was November 2014. That if subsidy cannot and massive fiscal reform was not done to Nigeria, Nigeria will slip into recession and total bankruptcy. And unfortunately, that was what eroded the late President Buhari administration in 2015. Nigeria slipped into recession. 32 states were bankrupt. They could not even meet the day-to-day running of their affair, which is a recurrent expenditure. I'm not even talking of provision of social infrastructure. They couldn't pay salaries. Some states were owing 7 months, 15 months, 10 months. So we were paying on piecemeal 15,000 naira, 5,000. Remember, like state like Kogi, we knew all those issues. Then the approach to governance from the Buhari-led administration have to shift because we're already in recession. We are suffering from stagflation. You know, you are recessed, your reserve is depleted. Inflation is not just inflating on a galloping basis, but you are stagnated, you are not growing, and yet you are inside inflation. That is stagflation. What do? You reinflate the economy. Do you have the money to reinflate? At that point, we're supposed to be running to our foreign reserve to say, okay, let's recalibrate the economy by pumping more money in the economy. There was no reserve to fall into. We were between the devil, we were at economic cliffhanger. We were between the devil and the deep blue sea. And then you have to have the welfareist approach, which led to the printing of the ways and means printing of money because we didn't have money anywhere to fall back to revive the economy. That was what led to the Ways and Means creation of Ways and Means account that was abused by the former CBN governor of Emefiele, where we printed more money to support different programs varying from Akobora scheme, agripreneur program, the railway, the massive infrastructure development that we embarked on, like the second Niger bridge, the Ewato bridge that connects Nasarawa to Otukpo, the second Niger bridge in Odunich. These were all. So the government started driving a welfareist program to revive the economy, to boost the economy, to reinflate, create more money in the economy so that people can get to work and their purchasing power increase. It even had an audacious social investment program, like we created the Empower, the school feeding program, the market money, the trader money, etc. and etc. Created the Ministry of Humanitarian to drive all that. You know, all that 8 years was to revive. And in the 8 years of that government, we had recession 3 times. In 2020, we went into another recession owing to the COVID-19 debacle. So you can imagine the burden inherited, the burden in an attempt to tackle it. The Buhari administration fell into more debt, even in the Ways and Means, which negate the provision of the Central Bank Section 7 rules of 2007, which state that every Ways and Means process, every money released by the Central Bank must be recouped within the fiscal year before next tranche or before any Ways and Means fund can go out. Instead, we were just printing funding, just trying to revive the system and concentrating on non-agri product. Meanwhile, the main thing of our economy, oil, was having an Avenger attack, vandalism in Niger Delta, with our oil depleted, our oil export depleted from 2 million to 2.5 million barrels in 2014 to patchy 800,000 throughout the 8 years of late President Muhammadu Buhari administration. 800,000 barrels of oil per day instead of 2.5 million barrels of oil. Yet it was sustaining that economy because he was still afraid because we're already down. You cannot remove the subsidy. We were having subsidy owing into more than 600 billions in owings. You know, a whole lot were going on. On call, we were not having money in reserve. People, the airlines were having money in naira to give to CBN, but no dollar to give to them. Foreign airlines were evacuating from Nigeria. Nigeria rating in the aviation sector was going down. We were owing, we had to run to JP Morgan's for about 13 to 15 billion dollar in debt. As at when Tinubu take over, we're already in debt to that amount. That is dollar borrowing liability on call that the CBN could not even meet. And in all this, we were spending billions to subsidize the forex, whereby the few cabals in the system, in the monetary policy design, hijack the system of foreign exchange. You give them the dollars at 400 naira, they will go and be selling at black market rate at 700 naira. All this eroded his administration in 2023. And when it came to power, then our net foreign reserve was about $3.something billion. That cannot survive a country for 1 month, all things being equal, that Nigeria is at war. We are not exporting, we are not producing. That was 3 point net foreign reserve. Our total gross foreign reserve, I hope you know the difference between net and gross.
So invariably, APC brought us to this point.
No. Invariably, excuse me, that means you did not listen to me. I told you that as of November 2014, the then Minister of Finance had already told you
3 recession.
Under
the previous,
and I told you what brought about the recession.
Yeah.
He inherited recession because as of November, Nigeria was already technically insolvent. You cannot inherit 32 states that cannot meet their day-to-day running of business as state government. They cannot meet day-to-day recurrent expenditure. They cannot pay salary, and you say you are not in recession. So we in the APC federal government of Nigeria, on a macroeconomic basis, inherited recession in 2015. And this was managed and it was compounded because at a point we drifted out of recession to experience growth prior 2019, and then the COVID-19 happened, which took us back to recession. You understand? And I just gave you the circumstances that surrounded all this. And in all this, they were still paying subsidy. And now we have a man that has come and said, renew hope. Redefining hope. The best hope the Nigeria country is supposed to have had was in 1993. Hope 93. The President Tinubu led administration is not is very wise enough to have crafting his government policy renew hope agenda. Because that was the best hope that would have resuscitated the Nigeria economy. To do away with things that are having incumbrance in the macroeconomics framework of the country. Number one was subsidy. Subsidizing petrol in one hand that is not really affecting the real people. The real people that are still complaining now, we are complaining yesterday because the impact of subsidy removal, this impact of subsidy payment, they were not feeling it. Well, so we were told in this country, when there was subsidy, they told us we were using 67 million liters per day. And they were taking it to Niger, Cameroon, to go and sell. Today we know that we are using less than 15 million.
Chief, so you believe that the renewed hope agenda is still on track?
Absolutely on track. That is where I'm going to. Of course, unification of currency as we are
let's go by.
You will not understand.
Let's go by the figures.
Yes.
Let's go by the statistics.
The JP, the money for the average.
Let's go by the
recent, is now on B rating.
On April.
On B rating.
Let's go by the World Bank rating.
Okay, what is the rating on April?
On April, the World Bank released a report that Nigeria right now is 63% even on the poverty rate. Now, if we break that number into the north and southern part of Nigeria, that's putting it together, it's about 133 million people right now living in poverty. So by the numbers again, we can now say that 86 million people, that forms about 65% of that figure, in the north are living on what they call multidimensional poverty. In the south, we have about 47 million people living in multidimensional poverty. Now, put all of these figures together. Recall that you've mentioned so far about you backtracked it from President Muhammadu Buhari's
President Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay, from Goodluck Jonathan's administration. I was taking it from the APC. And
no.
Okay, so,
it's Nigeria issue.
But recall that 56 we had about 56% of this multidimensional poverty in year 2023. In 2024, we had about 61% of this rate. Now, just the recently released World Bank report shows that we've climbed to 63% of poverty. You were saying at this point that this renewed hope agenda, we're still on track. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Let me explain to you. First of all, remember I told you before I came on air, I'll be here to deconstruct a lot of narrative. What is multidimensional poverty? If I may ask you.
Well, let's take it to be that I'm the one to be doing the questions.
So, so when you are talking about multidimensional poverty, it's not the real poverty index. Poverty that you can have millions, you can be a millionaire and still be under the index of multidimensional poverty.
Below $1 in a day?
No, it's not. That is not multidimensional poverty. That is core poverty. Core, C-O-R-E.
Well,
so let me
allow you something.
The handler, what
please go ahead,
the multidimensional, the word multidimensional, it means you can be rich in housing, which is shelter. You can have a house and be low in finance. You are still multidimensionally poor. It means you can have a job, earning 1 million in a month or 2 million in a month, but you are from a family line that runs extended family where you have to cater for more than 20 people rely on you. Do you understand? That is, you are still under multidimensional poverty. You can have a car that you drive to work, but a situation whereby you have to pick people along the road that is more than necessary. That means you are still falling under multidimensional poverty. Almost everybody in Nigeria is under multidimensional poverty.
And the ratings keep going up.
Excuse me, do you know why the rate is? Yeah. That is where, because the Nigerian economic system is built around macro and micro. The federal government takes care of the macroeconomics, while the subnationals take care of the micro. Infrastructural provision.
But one would have thought that the subsidy removal would have trickled down.
No, what is trickling down? The impact of subsidy removal. Yes, that is where social contracts come in. How many of your local government chairman have you asked? That is multidimensional poverty. That is where it trickled to. When the allocation of a state government is increasing, when the local government allocation is increasing, and nobody is questioning the voters, the populace, they don't even know that the unit economy, the firm's economy, the SME economy, the family economy is in the hands of the state government and the local government. You don't even know that there are roads, 60% of Nigerian roads are under the purview, constitutionally, the responsibility of state and local governments. That is infrastructure. Provision of water. Education is on the concurrent list on the second schedule of the Constitution. The responsibility of state and local government. Primary education, secondary education, even tertiary education. Hence, you have state universities and state colleges of education and co. This is that the absence of all this infrastructure is what is called when a society is suffering from multi-dimensional poverty index.
Well,
not poverty of hunger of the stomach.
Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the number keep
the number, yeah, of course, because that's what I'm challenged. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu led federal government, his macroeconomic policies are heading. You said it here,
but it's not trickling down.
No, it's the only way it can trickle down is for me and you to engage our state and local government, because it does not have the constitutional responsibility. It can only dialogue, give policy direction, but it does not have the constitutional responsibility to ensure. But you have it. You have an House of Assembly member that represents your constituency. His responsibility is to represent you well, to tell the governor of the state what your constituency lack. So, so the issue of, because this issue of multi-dimensional poverty, but we have overflogged it. Nigeria population is growing. We are betting almost 18 million people, 8 million people annually in Nigeria. So settling and the infrastructure, the pressure on infrastructure. Are you going to talk of the urbanization issue? These are all multi-dimensional poverty index. The rural-urban drift. What is driving a lot of persons from the rural area to the urban area are putting pressure on the urban area, because those that are responsible for fixing the rural areas, creating infrastructure, the state and local government, the subnationals. No matter how beautiful a macroeconomy is, when the micro is faulty, when the local economy is faulty, when the rural economy, when the rural infrastructure is not there, how will, for example, let's look at the agri sector. How are you going to move farm produce without accessible roads, accessible local market, where off-takers, the agriculture value chain, where off-takers will come and take your produce?
Well, since you've taken us to agriculture,
Sunday, I'm not, you said the government, the Renew Hope, the non-oil revenue of this government, the non-oil revenue of this government grew almost 10% in the first quarter, in the last quarter of 2025.
Since you've taken us to even the agriculture, let's even look at it. This administration insists that reforms are painful but necessary.
Yes.
But food inflation remains even one of the biggest concerns.
I disagree.
Across the country.
I disagree with you.
Well, let me give you the MBS report.
Me and you, but not MBS.
The MBS.
Sunday, this is me and you. We buy from the same market. How much are you? How much?
Reports. We're still waiting for the April report, but that March report that we have from the MBS, it says that we have about 14.3% surge in food inflation across the country. Now, when it has to
sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
14.3% food inflation, yes, or surge
in the food inflation.
Increase
now
to what?
Well, that's as we're still
because
waiting
inflation
for, we're still waiting
right
for,
now the general inflation is around 15%.
We're still waiting.
And we remember that when this reform started,
bring it back to practical terms.
In practical,
let's bring it back to practical terms.
Okay, in practical terms,
let's bring it back to practical terms.
The last time I was on this program, a bag of rice was 120,000 naira. How much are you buying?
How much is a bag of tomato and pepper right now?
I just started from rice.
Let's start with tomato and pepper.
No, don't shift. Let's start. You used rice. When last I was on this program about a year ago,
you use tomato.
You use rice. You use gas. You cannot be cherry picking.
Chief, let's use tomato.
You cannot be cherry picking because these are seasonal products.
Can we begin with?
Sunday, these are seasonal produce.
Can we begin with rice? Can we begin with pepper and tomato?
No, because we'll get there.
You agree with me right now?
Rice is a staple food. It does not have season.
How much? In some part of the country right now, they don't say you cannot afford pepper and tomato for as low as 100 naira to 300. The least you get tomato and pepper is from 500 and above right now.
These are seasonal agri produce, and it was pointing to staple foods. You mentioned the last time I was here, I think that should be last year. You were making reference to rice. That rice is 100 and something thousand per bag. You were making reference to gari. You made reference to palm oil, where a 5 liter of palm oil was being sold for about 27 to 30,000 naira. Bag of rice as at then was being sold for 120 to 100,000 naira. You were conveniently making references. A mudu of garri was 1512. As we speak today, rice is hovering between 40 and 55,000, depending on the brand. A bag of rice, 50 kg, not 25 kg.
Well, it depends on where you're buying.
Excuse me. Are you buying for the rice, or are you buying? No.
It depends on where you're getting it from. But this surge does not only affect food. It also affects
I'm coming. The same mudu of garri is 500 naira.
Yeah, please go on.
Are you not buying from the market?
A module of rice for 500 naira.
No, I say a module of garri.
A module of garri for 500.
Yes.
Maybe chief, you get
the same thing. Excuse me. It's not different market. It's the truth. You can ask your colleagues. We buy from the same man. These are staple food. That red oil now that was being sold for 28,000 naira is 14,000.
Well,
for 5 liter.
Well, chief.
I just bought. So I don't understand. You cherry pick and we're attaching issues to pepper and tomato. These are seasonal because as the rains are coming. When the rains are going now, they will now begin to have a surplus in tomatoes. You will not ask me how much is tomatoes then. You will not make reference to it. The essence of media journalism is to spread information that will help to coordinate governance, not to disinform.
We've not disinformed so far, but
I just correctly. We started from multidimensional.
Well, let's go.
Our problem with multidimensional poverty has to do with the level of decay of infrastructure in Nigeria.
That's why you're here. Now, let's even going forward. Recently, the Minister of Finance, the person of Taiwo Oyedele, came out to say, and of course, most economics, like the likes of Agbakoba, have come.
It's not an economist.
He's a lawyer.
Please.
I beg your pardon. I've warned that Nigerians' borrowing profile is becoming alarming.
Are you quoting Agbakoba or the Minister of Finance?
I'm just saying
Stick
that the
to one so that I know how to respond to you.
Economist.
It's not an economist.
I apologize for mentioning.
I would prefer you talk about the minister.
Let's talk about the Minister of
Finance. It's the right position.
Since you prefer the Minister of
because it's in the right position to speak.
So, but other economists have warned that the Nigerians' borrowing profile is becoming alarming. Now, the question is the country heading into a debt trap under this current administration? And it is looking at it in its generality. Of course, let's go by the figures again. You know, the government is trying to even get about $1.25 billion from the World Bank. And prior to that time, we are having about already our public debt, total public debt is around 159 billion naira. How will you react to this? Are we gradually moving into debt under this administration?
All right, this is an opportunity to clear the narrative that was built around the Minister of Finance statement, where we always one or two steps ahead of narrative models in Nigeria. He was addressing the Chartered Institute of Taxation, a professional body, and he was talking about the tax reform, that Nigeria cannot continue to borrow to drive development. Well, we have to, instead, we should concentrate telling the tax people how we should all help to spread the information, awareness about the new tax reform, the fiscal reform, where he was ironically the head of that committee that drove the new tax reform. That development, borrowing for development, borrowing to drive development alone on its own is not the only way and the best way to drive development for a country. A country needs to strengthen its fiscal frameworks, especially around revenue generation. Expand your tax drag nets so that you also earn more money through budgetary income. That is even more that will not make you to borrow less. If we really tax the real tax sources and block leakages.
Permit me to interject at this point.
All right.
The government have boasted that we are making a lot of money and still we want to still borrow about $1.25 billion. How do we reconcile?
There's nothing to reconcile. It's basic. When you prepare a budget,
that you're making enough money and you still want to borrow.
Excuse me. Even America is the highest borrower in the world. They make enough money. They make the biggest revenue on earth, and they are the biggest borrower. They are the highest debtor to China.
So won't this cripple the Nigerian economy if we keep borrowing?
That is why I said there are criterions. I told you our debt to GDP, we are still very heady.
For about 159
Our
billion.
debt to GDP ratio,
Yes.
we are still very heady.
You think so?
Of course, we have not even hit at the ceiling, but that is not an excuse. That is why the minister is saying that there are fiscal frameworks, fiscal design, that if well implemented, if all stakeholders, if you and I pay taxes, if our businesses, if everybody that is involved begin to contribute to the common purse, if we begin to prudently manage our resources and our sources of revenue are well harmonized, then we will do away with borrowing gradually, or we will borrow less. Normally, to present a budget and to prepare a budget, you have three sources. Either through grants and donations from multilateral outfits abroad, or through your revenue and through borrowing. That's how you finance budgets. Another clarification I need to give to you. Subsidy removal does not mean there's a money saved somewhere. It only means...
Speak to me. When you talk about the subsidy removal, speak to me as if I'm 5. So what...
Excuse me, that is why you should listen.
Where are the visible gains?
No, that's why you should listen.
Where are the visible gains?
Don't shift to the game. Let me explain what subsidy removal is to you.
You won't...
Sunday, carry barrel.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu
listen to me.
Presented fuel subsidy removal as necessary for economic...
No need. I'm there. I'm in your computer right there. Listen to me.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. After leaving, you're supposed to credit my account. This is pro bono, free of charge. If I deliver a lecture, I charge for it. Subsidy removal.
We will send you.
It's just an accounting. Normally, you debit subsidy every month. You debit your profit and loss. You debit
does not translate.
Excuse me.
Please go ahead.
Every month, you have to debit. It's an expense. You debit your subsidy account in your expense account. You credit your liability or your revenue account to pay for it. But now, that particular debit, that narration in your profit and loss account is no longer there. Do you understand? The money you should have used has increased your profits, your net profit at the end of the day. And Nigeria is like a partnership between the three tiers of government. Partnership between federal, state, and local government. How do you share? There's what is called appropriation of profit. When you not take that profit, you appropriate the profit among the partners. Who are the partners in Nigeria? The three tiers of government. It's not the federal government money. You are just the driver. When the profit comes, you take it to the partners. Isn't it? We have the active partner, we have the sleepy partner, we have the managing partners.
The dormant partners.
Exactly. So the ratio as arranged, as agreed, is what you share the money. It's not money that is saved somewhere. Federal government is saving it to do one or two things. It only increased, it buffered the allocation of the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The three tiers of government. We have the Consolidated Revenue Fund account that was being debited. Remember, NNPC used to debit itself to pay subsidy. Now NNPC is no longer debit. That money that's supposed to pay for subsidy now go to the Consolidated Revenue Fund account, where at the end of the month, a FAC, Federal Account Allocation Committee, meets, represented by the federal government, Minister of Finance. 36 state governor represented by Commissioner of Finance. Director of Finance represents 774 local government. They come to Abuja. They go to the FAC committee. Accountant General of the Federation represent them as the disburser. Central Bank is the cashier. Revenue Mobilization Fiscal and Allocation Commission tells you that 48% of this money goes to federal government. The remaining 52% go to state and local government. What the Minister of Finance is concerned is the portion of that money that goes to the federal government. That is what federal government use. So what the 52% is being used for is now less for you and me who come from states. Federal government is vague in federalism. Abuja is the Villa is under FCT. There's nothing like federal government as a Abuja is a tenant under the landlord of FCT. When the problem of Nigeria is the failure of the subnationals
on paper works.
This is not paperwork. I'm telling you, are they not collecting the
you understand in reality that Nigeria is a federal is a unitary system masking federalism in practical
I'm talking about revenue sharing.
Even in revenue sharing.
Are they not collecting the money?
You understand the
you ask me now how subsidy is being shared. No, and I've told you those that are collecting the can I tell you month by month? I start from your state.
All right, please.
Yes, I think you are either from Akwa Ibom or from.
Then we come to your state in Edo.
Of course.
They will come to Edo State.
Because my governor, ranking
around 7. Even
my governor,
with severe poverty.
My governor will tell you anytime, any day that every project, massive project you are seeing being undertaken in Edo State is as a result of increase in funding coming from the federal government. And you guys in the media also laughing for always mentioning Tinubu. Now Tinubu, they give me money. He is invariably telling you that before he came to power, Edo State was earning like 8 billion, in fact, 7, 8 billion, 3 billion, 5 billion, depending on the performance in the month. You remember when the former Obaseki have to say that they practically print money to share because there is no money any. But for the first time, Edo State cannot tell you it's earning 17 billion, 18 billion. Transparency. You saw the ICANN president coming to him.
I'm curious at this point, since we've gone to Edo State. Permit me to digress a bit from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's conversation to even look at Edo State. You've talked about Edo State government. At this point, Edo State used to be one state that it's IGP, internal generated revenue, IGR, I beg your pardon, used to be very, very interesting. But recently, it's as if the state banks more on the federal government allocation and FAC in order to survive. Is this the reality of what's happening?
It's not the reality. You are underinformed in that regard.
Well,
yes,
that's what I'm asking.
All right. You are underinformed in that report because when you do composite analysis, in 2024 September, when the government of Governor SSLS, Governor Monday Okpebholo took over, our IGRO was hovering between 7 billion. Annual IGRO. Sorry, monthly IGRO rather.
Yeah, because I was shocked when you say...
monthly IGRO.
Yeah, so
as we speak today, our IGRO monthly is hovering between 10 to 13 billion. So that's why I say you are underinformed.
We can say that is on paper, not in reality.
No, how can you say that is on paper? But you made reference to... What did you make reference to when you said it was higher before? Yeah. Were you referring to paper or reality?
In reality.
No, you were not there.
All right.
So
let me allow you.
Let me explain something to you.
Please go ahead.
Edo State was voted just first quarter of this year as number 2 after Lagos. Fiscal performance 82.5%. Apart from Lagos, in fact, they had draw. Lagos had 82.5% on budget implementation. Putting your money where your mouth is. Undertaken by Budgeting Nigeria, led by Onigbide. You know Onigbide? It's a fearless NGO outfit, just like the Showore. He's not a party person. He rejected an appointment from APC. You remember? Edo State was adjudged the 5th most fiscally prudent state in Nigeria.
But does this translate into...
Excuse me. You ask question of fiscal prudence. Edo State, as we speak today, Edo State has not borrowed in the 1 year, 6 months of Governor Monday Okpebholo administration. Edo State have not borrowed 1 naira from any bank or from foreign loan. Rather, is paying. How many states are paying their foreign debt? Kaduna State Governor told you guys on channel television that he has spent more than 80 billion since he came to office in 2023 paying domestic debts. How many state governors can boast? This is our APC governors. Edo State government has paid more than 39 billion. As at 3 months ago, he has paid 32 billion in domestic debt. I paid $47 million in foreign debt that he did not incur. Not that he has added 1 debt stock to the existing debt. When Oshomole was handing over to Obaseki, what was the debt profile of Edo State? Less than $60-something million. And you hit it to $300-something million, and another man is paying it, and you are telling me the man is not showing reality on ground? What is the definition of good governance and reality? For the first time in Edo State, a governor can wake up and audaciously employ 6,000 teachers at a go. Gave them a employment letter right in his presence, physical presence, collecting your employment letter and collecting your transport to your destination of posting to go and resume work as a graduate teacher. These were the same 6,000 teachers that were hitherto put on 39,000 naira salary per month by the previous administration.
Well, I wanted to call your attention to this.
Excuse me,
it was not,
you are telling me
it was not Okpebholo that did that. I thought
you said
it started from.
I said, you hear what I said? Yeah. You don't understand what this contract staff. A man put you on contract staff for 4 years, and another man converted you. What are you talking about?
That initiative did not.
Which is, no, it's not an initiative.
That initiative.
There are two different initiatives.
Let's put it.
No.
Let's put it.
Sunday. There's nothing to put in perspective. You don't put wrong things in perspective.
Let's put it in perspective.
Sunday, listen to me. You don't put wrong things in perspective. Obaseki came to power and created the Edo Star program. That he wanted to create jobs for these graduates. He engaged them as contract staff. They were not civil servants of Edo State. No emolument, no pension, no health insurance. They were being paid 39,000 as contract staff. So no sense of entitlement. They were never Edo State civil service. They were under the Edo Star program, undertaken by a consortium of outsourcing firm from Lagos. Their office in Benin. Then, excuse me, they were teachers. Some of them left. They were delusional. Some of them were depressed. A disenchanted staff is a risk to the productivity of any organization. They left their teaching place. And Okpebholo came. Governor Monday Okpebholo said, this cannot continue. I'm going to motivate you guys by making you full Edo State staff. Edo State civil servant. And he gave them formal employment, 6,000. It was showed nationwide one day and gave their transportation to their rest. Everybody came back. And he embarked on revamping the education with physical infrastructure. 100 schools was the target. Now we are on 78. And still going.
Well,
because you mentioned roads. That is well. No. I've started from.
Okpebholo has been popular for road construction.
No, Okpebholo is popular for driving good governance across the strata.
For road construction.
Your former bestie. Your former bestie.
It was not my bestie.
Started an agri program with 23 billion agripreneurial program. They could not harvest a corn. As we are speaking now, hundreds of trailers have left Udomi farm initial.
Let's be on the same page.
The farm project of the governor.
Let's be on the same page. It was not my bestie.
No, because you cannot be saying you are talking about. You ask question of reality.
My job is to put the record straight.
No, your job is to question. No.
My job as a journalist is to ask
questions on grey areas.
The record straight.
For record, no. For the record to be straight for you.
I'm trying to even get you react to the whole of Okpebholo's policy, but today is not the day.
Okay, when you are ready for that, let me know.
No, we will definitely bring you.
Going back to Tinubu.
Yeah, so I'm tempted to want to even ask at this point, since you've taken me to even Okpebholo. Let me just take this as we begin to wrap up on those states.
All right.
Can we confidently say right now that there are more industries, practical productivity in Edo State than what we had previously? There are more Edo indigents rather living the state in search of greener pastures?
The purpose of living anywhere for greener pasture, something move you from Akwa Ibom to Abuja to search for greener pasture. It does not mean that Akwa Ibom is one of the most backward states in Nigeria. That is a discussion for another. That is occupational mobility. But coming back to your question,
people will forgive you on that. But then
let me go back to the question. Your question. Excuse me.
Come back.
Yes, right now as we speak. After his first meeting with investors, dialogue with Edo diaspora investors, not just foreign investors.
But the one that was allegedly false investors or fake investors.
And they are investing now.
Well,
they agree. We have investment is going on in the solid mineral sector.
Well, the last time you came, you promised to take us to Edo State.
I said when you are ready.
Well, we will talk about that behind
camera. And $100 million. 100. If Edo State was not a destination for foreign investment, Presco would not come and handed over a check of $100 million to the governor that they are investing from Belgium more into agric palm oil, to be precise. Are we going to talk about the assembly plant? Do you think some of the tractors that are being used for agric mechanization, the first time in the past 10 years, no governor, the last administration for 8 years did not buy one single tractor. And this tractor we are assembling in Saple Road in Benin. Plus Keke Napep, they are being assembled there. Windscreen of cars are manufactured in Benin. Patutomi is driving a more than $200 million agricultural outfit in Igbo along Benin Lagos Road. These are new investments. What of the partners that are driving the Udomi farm? The Sugbenu farm that is being revived. The Agbede Warake farm that is under revive right now.
Well, Chief, like I said, today,
are we going to talk about the infrastructure?
Today is not day for Edo State. You know we'll talk about Edo, and we'll bring you to talk about Edo State. And by then, you know how the conversation look like because we have to.
When we want to talk about the rain we carry the whole day.
Well,
because if not stop raining, it's raining good governance across strata.
We will see how it goes. But then let's return back to President Bola Tinubu's even
the Renew Hope mandate.
Well, with all being said, should Nigerians still keep faith?
Yes, because the macro
in the Renew Hope agenda.
Yes.
Taking from the
because the fundamentals
level of insecurity.
Excuse me.
From the level also from food source and prices of high in the market.
Yes, Sunday. Yes,
keep faith.
Yes, the fundamentals agenda of a country.
Begin to look elsewhere.
There's nothing elsewhere you are looking at. Those that are coming are more than armed robbers. Those that want to come. So what are they? Have anybody given you alternative that they are going to return subsidy? Have they said they are going to return forex to break the trade manipulation? Have they promised you that? None of them have been able to even tell us what they want to do.
Peter will be in 2023 and also Article 2023, Tinubu alongside all promised to remove the fuel.
So have they told you anything alternative? So what are you looking at?
Should we as Nigerians have faith in the renewed hope agenda?
Yes, because the fundamentals are speaking. That is the same thing the world is saying. Investors, we are having investors' confidence, trillions in market capitalization every day. People are investing in portfolio investment is surging at more than 120% in the stock exchange. People are investing in Nigeria. It's a new destination. Dangote is expanding from 650,000 barrels to 1.2 million barrels per day. If the environment was not good enough, you will not be talking about. Are we talking of the massive infrastructure that are across the region? Those are audacious. The Kano, the Sokoto,
you're not talking about
Lagos.
Insecurity.
I'm coming there. I'm coming there.
You know we don't have a lot of time, so let's just
Sunday.
Yeah, let's just
Sunday. As far as our fundamentals are right economy, I wanted to tell you something before we started the program. The best form of defeating insecurity, whether terrorism, whether local insecurity, whether thief or criminality, is provision of good governance. Belewe full. You go get constipation that will go thief. Do you understand? A man that is engaged in a company, by the time he gets home in the evening, he will be too tired to go and break somebody's house in the night. We need to encourage good governance delivery. And the fundamentals are saying we are on trajectory. Since I was born, this is the first time we are experiencing balance of payment surplus. Having a trade surplus of 17 trillion in the first quarter of 2026. Even in economics, we already seen that Nigeria have never experienced balance of payment. We are already always on balance of payment deficit. The non-oil sector increased with 10%. Non-oil sector export, $6.1 billion. Non-oil export increased with 10%.
So you think there is no negativity?
And all this came from cocoa farming.
There's no negativity with the President Bola Tinubu.
No government is purely and the insecurity. You can see what has been going on.
Well,
you can see the bombardment. No, we are not. No. I'm talking of economy-wise. The renewed hope agenda is on the trajectory of consolidation. We need to consolidate these fundamentals for Nigeria to achieve the long-term dream. Why me and you? It's not our responsibility to engage our subnationals. They need to wake up, just like Pastor Umoino has woken up in
Umoino.
Yes, Umoino is waking up in Akwa Ibom. Opewolo is a trailblazer in Edo. Kaduna State Governor is doing his best in Kaduna. Abia State Governor is not APC. You cannot have 24 hours electricity in Aba owing to the program of decentralization of electricity by the Tinubu-led administration, that state governors cannot build their own, of which Edo State just laid their own foundation of 1,000 megawatt now. We are starting our own. State governors cannot. You now, I'm even planning, if I have money, I can invest in solar farm, distribute to my community and be collecting electricity bill from them. Everybody now, electricity is now the business of everybody. We have removed all the bureaucratic bottleneck of getting license to transmit or to generate, distribute, and transmit electricity.
Chief,
these are fiscal framework that need to be correct. Are we going to talk about the bank recapitalization? Can you compare Cardoso to the Soludo of 2004 recapitalization? Did you hear any noise of merger? The banks are recapitalized. That means they are heady enough for foreign investors.
Chief, let's start this conversation to be part one.
All right.
Because we'll definitely bring you back for the continuation of this conversation. Let's see it as we're just touching the surface and scratching the surface, but our time is already fast spent. I've been signaled that we need to go.
All right.
But on this note, I want to say thank you so much, Chief Braimoh, Haruna, for finding out time to be with us here on the show.
Always my pleasure.
Well, not forgetting that you still owe us those states.
And not forgetting that I still wait for when you guys are ready.
Well, we will be ready.
Yeah, write a letter. You saw Channel Television, Shehu Kibaloye coming to cities for herself. You saw the likes of some celebrity like Idris Abdulkarim. You said destination.
When we
tourism of infrastructural tourism.
When we're ready, we'll come to those states.
No problem.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go tonight on Comrade. Do not forget that you can leave your thoughts, you can leave your comments on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the RapidTV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now.